everybody. Welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. Thanks so much for being here today. A special interview for me in particular, because many of the interviews that I do, I don't really know the person that well, maybe not at all, even though they provide great information, but someone I've been to spend a bit of time with, especially more than others. And I know she is going to provide amazing, amazing value. I've seen her work in a few different sectors and segments, and it was amazing. So Maha, thanks for being here today. And as we get ready to jump in and hear what's in Rules of Self-Reliance, how are you doing today? What's going on in your world?
I'm good. How are you? I'm so excited to be here.
Well, good. I'm doing great. It's as we do this discussion, it's boiling outside, but I thank God for air conditioners, so I'm doing all right. Grateful
I
for the
heard it
small
is. I
things.
heard it's super hot in New York.
Yes, indeed it is. It is. But thanks for being here today, Maha. And Maha, can you give us your full name and the name of your business and what you do today? We'll get in the book, but just unpack a bit who you are today, who you serve, help people understand why you're all that in a bag of chips.
Amazing. Thank you. My name is Maha Abouelenein. I am the CEO and founder of Digital and Savvy. It's a strategic communications firm. Also an author of the book, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. And I'm a professional storyteller. I help people tell their stories, scale their ideas, find their narratives. And I worked a lot in tech. I worked at Google. I worked at Netflix. I helped bring in Uber into the Middle East. And then I started working with high profile people, the ruler of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed, Gary Vee, Deepak Chopra, Jim Quick, amongst the others, and really helping them with their personal brands and to tell the stories as leaders and executives, how you show up in the world as your reputation and build your personal brand. And so I spent a lot of time helping people find their narratives, tell their stories, build their personal brands, and connect with audiences.
I love that. And I'm curious, Maha, just knowing you a slight bit. Again, I'm not, claiming to be your brother, or sister, living with you, but, I feel I know you a little bit. And that curious in this world of personal branding and marketing that you do you in particular see yourself more as a connector and having a amazing Rolodex? When I think of you, I think of personal branding is a bit too small for Maha. She's like, in the
Yeah,
movies, the black limo pulls up in the back of the hotel, not the front. And you're wondering, wow, they said they couldn't move this chandelier, but it moved. That's how I think of you.
Yeah, I mean, I love networking. I love being a super connector.
Yeah,
I love people. So I find
you
one of
do.
the ways that I create value for people, that I work with all these executives or work with these big companies, is I think a lot about how to create value for others, including my
Mm.
network. So those relationships are the bread and butter of my business, the bread and butter of my existence. Like if I don't know people and have those relationships, I'm not going to be as strong to myself or to others or for my business. And a lot of entrepreneurs, do the business development and
Mhm.
do the sales and do the marketing. You got to invest in those relationships, and you have to have the keys or the cards, as I call them, in your hands to have a
Mhm.
good network. So you don't rely on somebody else to tap into their network when you need something. You have the network. And so that being a super connector in a network, I think would be one of my superpowers, if you will, that I love doing it. And it just brings me a big sense of satisfaction. And I want to teach a lot of people how to do that too, because I think it's valuable for them.
For sure. Maha, I love this. Let's jump right into it. New
Okay.
book out, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance, how to stay low, keep moving, invest in yourself, and own your future. A book I have read. What's interesting about this, Maha, is I love, again, because I know you, the stories you shared and how oftentimes there was a surprise ending. And I won't go through the whole thing. I don't want to,
Yeah.
but, just like I was told to stay back, like, oh, that sucks. Oh, wow. And then like, oh, this is why I was told to stay back, so little gems like that. So Maha, I don't know where we want to go, but I think first of all, I just wanted to, you have 8 chapters in the book. We don't have to go through all that, but I'll leave
Yep.
that to you. But maybe right at the top, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. Can you just
Yes.
unpack the title and the subtitle, how to stay low, keep moving, invest in yourself, and own your future? Feel free to take some time. For you, what does that mean? For our listeners right now, what does that mean for them, for you? Give us a short summary of what's inside.
Okay, great. So self-reliance is relying on yourself, right? So a lot of people think, oh, this is a book on how to be independent and go it alone, and I don't need anybody. The book is actually the exact opposite. The book is a playbook, how you can actually get the things that you want personally or professionally by relying on yourselves, by having skills. So think of the word or the term self-reliance as being resourceful. What do you need to do to be resourceful? You need to, and I'm going to walk you through a few of the rules. One, you need to know how to build your personal brand, how you show up in the world. How do you promote yourself? How do you build your reputation within your company if you work in it as an employee or if you're an entrepreneur? How to be a long-term player. What does that actually mean, and how do you do it? And what are the benefits for being a long-term player? If you rely on yourself, knowing that you have the confidence to do it, you have the abilities to do something, you can be a long-term player, and when to do that. How to create value for others. For me, that is the secret sauce. If you can create value for other people and you can bring them something of value, they're always going to want to work with you. They're always going to want to recommend you. They're always going to want to do business with you. And that's going to help you in your business, in your company, in your relationships. And so I kind of teach people how to create that value. Another kind of rule of self-reliance is don't be a waiter, be a creator. A lot of people are waiting for permission from other people to do things, or are afraid to do something because they're afraid of what people will think. Like, who does she think she is? Isn't that a terrible way to live, where you're going to spend your life not doing something you really want to do because you're afraid of what other people think? Stop waiting. Stop waiting for that opportunity. Stop waiting for that Mr. Right. Stop waiting for your manager to appoint you that magic project that's going to make you a rock star. Go create it. You have the power to do it. And so the book is teaching you these rules, not just to empower you, but to inspire you and give you a playbook. So in each chapter, it teaches you how to be a value creator, how to not be a waiter, how to build your personal brand, how to be a long-term player, and how to think about these rules as it applies to your life. Think about it right now. AI is here.
That's right. People are freaking out.
We're no longer with competing with people like in our cities due to remote work environments. We're competing with people from around the country or around the world. A lot of companies are seeing economic crunch, mass layoffs. So what do I need to have? What skills do I need to have for today's modern environment and playbook? And that's what, in a nutshell, the book is about.
I love that, Maha. I think it's so true. I told a story when I was speaking one to the National Speaker Association, how the aspects of how I was doing a event, and I was not waiting for them to hire me to do it, not waiting for them to have me do it, but I made my own table and did it. Literally rented the space, rented the venue, and did the event myself. Lost money, but years later, built it and sold the business. So I love that aspect of creating it yourself, not waiting for that.
For
I think
other
that's
people.
beautiful, Maha. Yeah, I love that.
You
Maybe
know,
let's walk through. Go, please, please.
No, what I was gonna say, the other thing that I spent a good amount of time talking about the book, which is just touched on a second ago, is this networking. Like, how do you actually network? Your network is not there to do your favors, like get a job for your son or tickets to a game. How do you nurture those relationships in a network? And
Yes.
how do you network with social media? Like, how many of us are getting bombarded with these random messages on LinkedIn?
All
There
day.
is a way to do it on LinkedIn. There is a way to master the art of the DM on Instagram. You'd be surprised, and I do talk about in the book, but in general, I post about this too, of how many business opportunities I've gotten by that DM on Instagram. It works.
It
You just
does.
have to know how to do it. And it's kind of about telling the person what you want very quickly, giving them your contact information first so that you can actually, show them like, here, you have the ability and power to reach out to me. And then try to get that conversation offline into an email where you can set up a meeting and have a proper conversation and go into the details of what you want. There's just a few tricks like that on how to do it on Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter, whatever platform you're using to network, because that is the most important thing you need to be investing in right now. Invest in
Yeah.
relationships, invest in how you create those relationships, and what do you do for the relationships? Like, they are not there for you to just ask them for favors. Go and help them first, bring value to them first. And so I love talking about networking. It's one of my favorite things.
I think that's missing so much, Maha, because again, going back to, your book, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance, which I hope everybody goes out for and gets right now. Buy a copy, get a copy for your friend. I have a copy. Well, my version on Amazon's coming when the book is
You
released.
got to
Amazon's really good at that. Yeah, which I'm happy about. But I think that's very important because oftentimes we're saying, hey, Maha, can you buy this pen for me? Can you buy this pen for me? But instead, maybe I should be saying, wow, I noticed you're an artist. I loved how you did it. By the way, I'm an artist too, and can I show you something? Whatever that, it's adding value first, which I think people forget. And I guess my question for you, Maha, what do you say to the person who says, I don't have time? Listen, I got to get these leads. I got to get these customers. I'm going to go to the LinkedIn AI auto merge first name field engine and shove Maha's name in there and 50,000 other people. Just hope for the best.
Yeah.
People do that. What do
So
you say to those people?
People are busy and you have to prioritize, right? So you can't be a full-time networker. You have a business to run, you have a
Hmm.
team to lead, you have a culture to build, you have sales to get, you have leads to go create, right? But you need to prioritize it during the course of your week. Otherwise, you're not going to have them when you need them, right?
Mm.
So it is something that you just need to like carve out of your schedule, put time on your calendar, set up maybe at the beginning of every month, like, okay, I'm going to have 2 coffees or try to have 15-minute meetings with 2 15-minute meetings with people. The other thing, it doesn't have to be a meeting. It doesn't have to be a heavy lift. It could be
That's right.
something like sending them an article that they of a topic that you notice that they're following, commenting on their social media. That's networking because it shows the person that you're there, sharing one of their stories on social, showing them that you're listening and you're following what they're into. There are
Mm.
many techniques to networking. Not all of it is having a meeting, having a cup of coffee, bumping into someone, it could be you see them speaking at an event and you like a message and you take what they said and you share it. And that's networking as well. Like it's actually touch points that you make throughout your day, throughout your week, and trying to create value for that person in the way that you know how to do authentically and consistently.
I love that. And I want to dive into a few chapters of the book, which I have right in front of me, not doing it from memory, Maha, just so you know. But one more time, Maha, can you give everybody your full name, the name of your business, and how people can reach out to you who are listening, whether you prefer LinkedIn or just go to your website? Can you just
Yep.
recap who you are one more time, please?
Maha Abouelenein. So you can follow me on Instagram at Maha Gabber, which is my middle name, Mahagaber. And also on LinkedIn, it's my full name, Maha Abouelenein. And I also have like a LinkedIn newsletter every Friday. I kind of drop kind of what's on my mind, articles I've been reading, books I've been reading. And I love the LinkedIn newsletter. It's like my new big thing now.
I love it. I love it. And again, we're talking to the author of and media savvy, a ninja of all things marketing and sales and personal branding, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. I want to get into some of the chapters of the book, see what we can pull out a few nuggets from each one,
Good, let's do
depending the
it.
time. But I want to ask you, what do you say to the people, whoever they is, they're keeping me down? Whoever it may be, they're keeping me down. Maha, you don't know my story. My daddy did this. My boss did this. Maha, you don't, I am unique. I grew up like that. Or you don't see those people. We can't do X. Talk to those people that they are keeping me down, past, present, or future. What do you say?
Honestly, you have a story, you need to share it, right? The only person who can put you at the top of your priority list is you.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person who can, like, let's say when you Google yourself or
Mm-hmm.
you look up information, don't let other people control what people find out about you. You should be proactively owning what you want the world to see about you. So, a lot of people think when we talk a little bit about personal brand, they're like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to share my personal life. That's not what this is about. And it's also not about you being a social media influencer. That's not what this is about either. In fact, building your personal brand offline, who you are in real life, with the barista, with your team, with your colleagues, with your strategic partners, with your supply chain people. That's the most important part of managing your reputation and your personal brand. So I like those people that say they don't know, they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Now is the opportunity for you to tell them.
Yeah. Yeah. And a part of it I find, Maha, and that's a whole nother, that's your second book or third book is aspect of mindset. I think that's what this
Yeah.
Rules of Self-Reliance is mindset, but that's for your second book. So Maha, let's go through some of the chapters. You guide me where you want to go. I'm just going to pull out, chapter 2, stay low, keep moving. Anything that comes to mind. What does that mean? Talk to us about that. Stay
Yeah, I
low,
mean,
keep
I,
moving.
I love this. So I heard this term a long time ago from a colleague of mine, and actually I never really looked up the meaning. He always used to like say, Maha, stay low, keep
Mm-hmm.
moving. And I was like, oh, what does that mean? And then it became a mantra for me. It became a mantra of stay low. The term, the story behind the term is, in military,
Mm-hmm.
they
Mm-hmm.
stay low, and they're inching on their stomachs, on their arms and knees, like legs, so that they don't get hit by
Right.
artillery or fire. They're just
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
basically trying to stay alive. But for me, it was a metaphor for my life. Like stay low,
Mm-hmm.
put in the work, put your head down, put in the effort
Yeah.
and then keep moving. Because no matter what, I'm going to face it. You're going to face it. We're all going to have setbacks. We're all going to have adversity. We're all
Mm-hmm.
going to have problems in our lives. So you got to stay low. You got to just stay focused on what your personal goals are. Don't worry about the distractions. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about the people who you think are judging you, who have their own problems. Stay low and just keep moving. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a mantra for life. I actually wanted to call the book Stay Low, Keep Moving. And I thought my people may not get it, but it's really like, you just got to put your head down and put in the effort. Hard work always pays off. Like, I never saw anybody put 10,000 hours into something and didn't achieve a goal. Like, if you want to get to the dreams that you have, or the ideas you have, or the things you want to do, you got to put in the work. There are no shortcuts.
Yeah. So part of self-reliance doesn't mean laziness. That means, no, it's actually intensity. It means those of us who are self-reliant are probably working our butts off a little smarter and harder than the next guy or gal, possibly.
Yeah. And I think just the concept of stay low, keep moving, is just also inspiring. Like, stay low, keep moving. You're going to get there. Like, I'll tell a quick story. There's a woman who wrote a book, and she was organizing her first book event, and she was going to be doing like a bookstore signing, and she organized it on Eventbrite, and like 22 people or 20 people registered to come. And she did her book signing and only one person showed up.
I've been there.
And she was vulnerable and went to X or Twitter and posted, she's like, I'm really disappointed. I wrote this book and nobody showed up for my book signing. One person showed up, even though 22 people or whatever signed up. I'm just so disappointed. I put so much work into this book. It's a sci-fi book. It's a fantasy, this, that, and the other thing. And then the internet does what the internet does best. And like, pretty soon, Stephen King and Margaret Atwood and all these writers were like, oh, my first book signing, nobody came. And just a lot of empathy for her. And then pretty soon people were like, what's the book about? Send us a link, blah, blah, blah. And anyways, her book started like selling, and people were interested in her and her story. And she started getting on the news. And then somebody from London said, I can represent you in the UK. And she ended up selling out the book. And the moral of the story is, you have an audience, you just haven't found it yet. So stay low and keep moving. Like, you will face setbacks, but if you really have the self-worth and the self-confidence in yourself and your abilities, you'll be able to get there. And that's the premise of why self-reliance, I think, is so important. And I think it's just a skill we need to teach entrepreneurs. We need to teach students. We need to teach fresh graduates. Like, I'm not saying don't work with other people or collaborate with other people. It's exact opposite. It's just like, have confidence in yourself. Like, believe in yourself first. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will.
That's right. That's right. Be a value creator, Maha. You touched on, again, all these points already. I'm just going back through them. I think they're so important. Be a value creator. That could mean so many different things. And I think you talked about already LinkedIn. You talked about, I shared my story of, just not waiting to be picked. But let's unpack that a bit more. Be a value creator. What does that mean to you and to us?
Yeah, I mean, creating value for other people has sort of been kind of like why I think I get to work with all these big names and get big people. Like, you can't be a one-hit wonder. You have to constantly be creating value for other people. And it could be being a good listener, understanding what they care about, understanding what are the things that are important to them, and then trying to find an area where you could tap into that. So like, I would listen to about something that they care about. I would think about their business. I would think about their strategy. The first step in being a value creator is you got to be a listener, and you have to really understand that other person and their business and what they care about. The second thing is, then now, once I know, okay, you care about this, so then I'm going to try to deliver on that. And what's the way I can deliver on that that's unique, or that's different, or that's a lane that no one else is working in, trying to like see around corners, or find an insight, or find something that you are passionate about that you think, hey, I think I can present this to them, or go to my manager with this, or go to a potential client with this idea. That's what I mean when I say like creating value for other people, in terms of like your approach to doing things for others that actually creates something of value. And it's not what I think is valuable. It's what I think you think is valuable. Because like, I'd say I do a favor for you, or introduce you to somebody that might not be important to you, then I wasn't a value creator. So always think about, what are the things you can do that have meaning for the other side.
I love that. And I think that that's so important. Let me ask you, I'm going to get into politics a bit here, Maha, a bit of politics here. So buckle up. We'll get into politics.
Yep.
Here's the politics. What's the balance of this? There's no real politics. What's the balance of this, Maha, of, somebody, and I tend to be like this to a degree, people in my family have talked about it, where you give and give and give too much. You're the nice guy or gal. The polar opposite. Now I have friends, they're like hardcore ninjas, like No, Maha, it's 12:01. I said pay me by 12:01. Deals canceled and closed. I'm exaggerating a bit, but can you, how do you see that being? Because, by the way, I was at a mutual event that we were at and surrounded by some high profile people. You rocked that room. You knew about everybody in that whole big place we were at together. So my point being is, how do you balance that between giver, hey, Ramon, thought of you. Hey, Ramon, I saw you had a blue bowl behind you. Got you another one. No problem. See you later. Versus I give you blue bowl, give me one, versus you get what I'm asking. How do you
Yeah.
navigate that?
So I think when you create value for other people, you have to be calculated about your approach. You're not
Okay.
going to give away the house for free. You're not going to work for free forever. You're going to be thinking about what is the value that you need to give in order to get something. Like, is there like I'm going to go this far because I want to see if this person potentially will do business with me. So I have to make some effort and put some effort in. So you need to deliver. First thing I always ask is like, how can I help? To find out like how I can help. Then I really pay attention to what's happening in the market and identify kind of what they're curious about. I don't give away the house for free, but I give enough value to show them who I am. And I do it authentically, and I do it in a way that shows them what I'm capable of doing. And I'll tell you a quick story, and I put it in the book. I was going to Dubai for a business trip, and I found out that Deepak Chopra was also going there on a business trip. I don't work for Deepak. I have no business relationship with him, but we knew each other through mutual people, and his business manager is a friend of mine. And so when I found out he was going and we were going to overlap by like half a day, I was like, hey, Deepak, like if you give me half a day, maybe I can organize something for you. I do a lot of business in Dubai. I lived there for 9 years, 8 or 9 years. And so I have relationships there. And I'm like, well, maybe I might be able to bring value to him, not knowing what I was going to do. I just kind
Absolutely.
of put it out there saying, hey, is this something that, you might be open to it? And if I can, share my relationships with him, that's valuable for him. And
Yeah.
it's also valuable for me because I'll get to spend time with him, and
That's
it
right.
creates value for me to get some exposure to how he thinks and how he works. And I'm a big fan of his. So he said, yes. He said, yes, I'll allow you to bring value to me. Again, I'm doing this for free. I'm not getting paid. Anyways, we go on the trip and we get there. I introduce him to some people. He has a great time. He's interested in who he met. The people I connected him to are very happy. And it just worked out. Like it worked out really well. And I trusted myself. I trusted myself to know what is it the value that I think I can actually deliver on. How much value am I willing to give? Because I'm not working for him. So I can't just spend time building a business for him. I can only do so much. I did a lot of research, gather information about him and his business and what does he care about or where I think an opportunity might be. So I had to listen a lot and understand. But ultimately, he became a client because I delivered first. I showed my intentions authentically first. I just was willing to bring value up front instead of saying, I'll only do something for you if you pay for me or if you hire me to do it. So I was showing him authentically who I am. I was trying to deliver value first and showing him that my intentions are this. And he could also see this is how she operates. This is how she works. This is who she knows. And so I feel like if you're going to be a value creator for other people, yes, you need to be calculated about how much time you're going to take, but also think about there might be a benefit that you may not know about when you actually give the value to some persons. Like, are you able to solve a problem for them? Are you able to share knowledge for them? Are you able to provide support for them? Are you able to volunteer and give your time and energy to something that's meaningful for the other person you want to work with? Are you able to create something new that didn't exist before? So those are some of the ways that you can create value for other people. And I like to think like hustle culture is out, value culture is in. So always take it into your thinking of like, how can I create value for that other person?
I love that. And I think Maha, it shows the essence of it. I think one gem about Deepak, since you mentioned him, is that even if he didn't become a client, I bet it's still a win. And I know that that's how
Yeah, of
you roll.
course.
And right. And same with me. Our relationship here, you may never send me a check for anything. I may never send you a check for anything in our life, but we are going to continue to add immense value. So I think when I see that, this is the playbook. Yes, we all have to eat and live and eat cash. Our bank doesn't say, oh, Ramon, so-and-so. Doesn't work that way. But let's not forget the social cred or the value. As you said, you just said it. So I think that's so important. And some people forget that, even networking events. Hi, my name is Jerry. I wash windows. Can you buy from me? No. Okay, next. Well, I mean, maybe there's something else y'all can do together. And I
Yeah.
think that kind of thinking is going back to 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. Maha's new book, which is out. Go right now to your favorite bookstore, 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. Get that, take selfies, give reviews, send a copy to your mama, your father,
Reviews,
your daddy.
please.
Reviews, reviews, reviews. We want to get it up to 5,000. Okay, 500 reviews, maybe 100
500
reviews.
would be great. Yeah, it means so much.
Reviews are
Obviously, I didn't
important.
know how much like writing a book I think is easy. Selling a book is not as easy, but I feel like I'm learning so much about the process of reviews and what they mean. And I see other people who have sold books and I love reading. They keep posting their reviews and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, yeah. It is nice. It is nice for sure. Maha, let's keep going through this. And again, you can, if you want to jump around, or can I go through all the rest of the
Oh, doing,
rules?
yeah.
Good. So don't be a waiter. What does this mean? Maybe one of my favorites. Don't be a waiter. Rule number 3. Talk about this.
So, so much of us, I think social media has, perpetuated this, are afraid of how people are judging us or we're waiting for permission from others. And this chapter talks a lot about how do you go from a waiter to a creator? Somebody once said to me, Maha, you're a waiter. And I'm like, what? And I felt like, I'm like, it hit me like a dagger in the heart. I'm
You
like,
didn't
what do
know
you
where it
mean
was
I'm a
going?
waiter? And it was actually an aha moment for me where I just decided to like, hey, maybe I should be creating the opportunities of life that I want. Like, why am I waiting for someone
That's
to
right.
tell me what to do? It's actually my life. I'm the decider, as George Bush used to say. Like,
Yes.
I should decide what I need and what's best for me and how to do that. And I feel like if you could, yeah, first of all, it leads to so much happiness because you don't feel the pressure from others and the fear and judgment of others. And two, you'll be surprised of the opportunities that are out there that you're not taking advantage of
That's right.
and how much people want you to win or to want to help you. So a lot of people are afraid to ask for help and think like, I don't want to tell them I don't know this information or I
Mhm.
don't have what it takes. Everyone in your circle wants you to win and you just
That's
need
right.
to ask.
That is powerful. That is powerful. I love it. Don't be a waiter. Unlearn, relearn, and invest in yourself. What is rule number 4 about this? Unlearn, relearn, and investing in yourself.
Yeah. So I think, I am a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm,
I believe I'm 54 years old.
mm-hmm,
I want to continuously learn. If I'm not learning, I'm not growing.
mm-hmm.
And having a sense of curiosity about the world around us is something that I think is so important. And there's so much information that's available to us on podcasts, on YouTube, on the internet. And guess what? It's free.
Mm-hmm.
It's free. So why wouldn't we take advantage of the abundance of information that's out there? So this chapter is like a little bit about we need to unlearn things that are no longer serving us. Our times are changing,
Mm-hmm.
ideas are changing, we are evolving as people. So what are some things you need to unlearn, like things that are no
Mm-hmm.
longer relevant? And then what do we need to relearn or to actually just gain new knowledge and acquire? And so learning is hard. Like no one teaches you how to learn. No one teaches you how to
That's a
study.
great point. No one teaches you how to learn. Continue, but that's a whole nother, that's your third book. Maha, go ahead.
Yeah, like no one teaches you how to learn stuff. So
Yeah.
how can you acquire knowledge? We're so busy. Like I don't have time to take courses or do YouTube channel. Some people may do that. So is a podcast good for you? What are the ways that you can learn? The biggest thing that I wrote in this book that I think about a lot about learning is you can learn the most from people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't need to spend time on a YouTube channel or listening to a podcast. I can learn from a mentor. I can learn
Mm-hmm.
from a former boss. I can learn from a CEO. You might be inspired by people that don't even know that you're their mentor, people that you follow on social media. So you can learn a lot from people. And don't underestimate the power of learning from someone who's been an entrepreneur and has failed, who has started a business, today I got an email from somebody saying, I'm about to write a book. I'd like to learn from you what you do. I'm like, I'd love to help that person because learning from people is also invaluable, especially if they have experience and they've made mistakes and you want to save your time and energy from making the same mistake. So I think learning is something that people who are self-reliant, it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Learning is part of that kind of toolbox. Make sure that you're constantly trying to learn new things. One, the market's changing, so you need to kind of keep up. Two, there's things that can save you time and money. So let's take advantage of those. And three, like I said, it's free. Like
Yeah.
anything that you want to learn is at your fingertips for free.
I love that. And you're right. It is all it takes is asking, or as you said, first, go to YouTube, read a book, go to a podcast, and or ask me in Maha.
Yeah, love it.
Yes, your reputation is currency. Again, talking to the author of Seven Rules of Self-Reliance. Seven Rules of Self-Reliance. His book is not what you think it is. It's about creating your own success in life. My words, but again, Seven Rules of Self-Reliance from my friend Maha. Your reputation, Maha, is your currency. Rule number 5. What is that about? Why should we pay attention to this particular chapter?
Yeah, so I think you should think of your reputation as a currency.
Mm,
What's its worth? What's its value? How are you going to increase it? If you really care about your reputation the way that you care about other things in your lives, like I think that's the premise of this chapter is focus on your reputation. You should
mm,
own it. You should know, when people look you up, that it's information you've put out there, when you interact with people in real life. So reputation equals personal brand and in my head. And I just feel like if you're not focusing on your reputation, then who will? Right? And
that's
who
right.
will be thinking about that? So what relationships do you need that'll help boost your reputation? What information do you need to acquire? You could have the best sales, the best marketing, the best supply chain, the best employees, but if you don't have a good reputation, no one's going to work with you. No one's going to buy your products. No one's going to download your app. No one's going to join your company. So you really need to think about your reputation. The other thing is, don't just think of it as online. So your offline reputation, how you network, how you build relationships, how you treat other people, how do you treat people is the most important thing that can make or break your
Absolutely.
business. And now everyone has, with the power of a phone, to record you anywhere you are and upload it to the internet and
That's right.
broadcast
That's
it to
right.
the world. So how is your reputation? Do you feel good about it? When you Google yourself, do you like what you see? When you look up your images, do you think that if someone else looked it up, an employer, a potential love partner, a business associate, a potential business partner, when they look at you up, do you feel good about what they'll find? We live in an age where you can't
Mm,
not think about these things. We live in an age where you can't afford to just assume like that it's going to be okay what's out there. Like you need to be proactive about it, you need to be intentional about it, and you need to really be consistent about it.
yeah. Wow. That is powerful. And you're exactly right. Your reputation. I mean, if you, especially, if you're trying to go higher and higher, higher, you mess up, that could be a, a long journey away from where you want to be. Maha, you've played this game very well in a good way. Be a long-term player. Again, reading Seven Rules of Self-Reliance. You didn't just land up here, as Maha. Ooh, I'm here. It's just been a journey for you through a variety of rooms and experience. What can we learn as entrepreneurs or stay-at-home dads about being the aspect of a long-term player? What does that mean? Rule number 6.
So we live in a time that we value speed.
Mm.
We value now. We want
Yeah.
to tap to pay to get out of the store. We want to download our
And
episodes and
no
watch a whole
cashier. Tap to pay
season.
and gone.
Yeah, we want to download a whole season and watch it now.
Yep.
We don't want to wait in the line at the airport. We want to clear and go through. Like
Mm.
we value speed as a society, right? And so things have to be quick and we want immediate attention. We can't wait 3 seconds for a video to load and we decide to move on because it didn't load right away, right? You need to hook a customer within 3 seconds. So we live in a time and an age where we value speed and we
Mm.
recognize that, move fast and break things. That's how business runs. What I'm talking about is be a long-term player and
Mm.
think about the long-term benefits of not being a transaction player. Like don't
Mhm.
meet somebody for a quick transaction, a hit and run. Build a
Yeah.
long-term relationship. Build a long-term value equation with that. And that's what's going to serve you well. So you do need to do, short-term business
Mhm, mhm,
transactions that understands. But I'm trying to get people in the mindset. If you think long-term, you're going to have better benefits and bigger benefits. And how do you become a long-term player? So a lot of people ask me, should I work for free or not? How long should I work for free if I really want to get an opportunity? And I think about it as two things. Does it give you an opportunity to learn or to earn?
mm,
So if you're younger in your career, you probably want to be learning because you
mhm,
still need to figure out what you want to do, what their best ideas out there, what's the thing that makes you happy. You need to be learning. And then later in life, after you have experience and you've learned a bunch of stuff, then you can think about earning.
mhm.
So
I love
being a
that.
long-term player thinks about stuff like that. Should I be taking this job offer that's probably not the best money, but I'm going to get a chance to learn from somebody extraordinary? Then that's how a long-term player thinks. They think about the long-term benefits, not the short-term financial benefits. I always think, even in terms of long-term player, like how you run your company,
Hmm.
people over profits. Like, don't burn out your people to win business. Like that's the recipe for getting them to quit, right? So be a
Yeah.
long-term player. Think about people over profits. Value your teams. Invest in your culture. Invest in your people. Those are the things that long-term players think about.
I love that, Maha. And I think that it's interesting. One thing I do, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it works for me, is I always say, let's pilot it. Maha's like, Ramon, love you to come and work with me for the next 500 years. Great. Absolutely, Maha. But let's test it for 3 months just
Let's
to see
see.
if yeah, hey, let's see. Then let's try it for a year. So, that's just a small little hack. When I know I want to do something, but I'm like, Ramon, let's just build into something that we both feel good. If it doesn't, nobody have to be towards each other. So love that. Maha, last chapter of the book, last rule number, I should say, but definitely not the last part of the book. There's other things in here which are gems. Live with no regrets, which is sometimes hard to do. I think the younger you are, sometimes you can do it. But what does that mean for you? What's inside this book, this nugget that people should run out and get? 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. Should get that today, this aspect, Maha, of live with no regrets.
It's hard to do, but if you think about how you like, if you live with regret, means you're carrying around all this baggage with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? And I have had a lot of circumstances in my life that I could really regret. And I do share a little bit about my personal story in this final chapter of the book. It's the thing that people are not expecting to read or to hear. Both my mother had multiple sclerosis, and my father had ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And at a very young age, I was 14 when my mother got sick, and I became a caretaker for 22 years for my mother. And then my dad got sick, passed away, and within a year, my mom passed away of my dad passing. And those were terrible cards. Like, I'm not going to tell you that was an easy time in my life. I had been living in the US my whole life, moved to Egypt, started to find my career and figure out what I was going to do. My parents got very sick, and I could have regretted all of that. Like, what a messed up situation. But I was like, okay, this is our story. This is our journey. We're going to stay low. We're going to keep moving. We're going to create value for other people. I'm not going to be a waiter. I'm going to be a creator, and I'm going to learn some things. And that's how I forged ahead and built the career and business that I have. And so everything in this book are truly tested principles of my life, and they worked. And that's why I wanted to share them with other people. To live with no regrets means that you need to let go. Like, you walking around with that baggage is only going to bring you down. And everybody has problems. I have problems. You have problems. Everybody has it. And you have to know that you're not alone in having those struggles in life, whether it's financial problems, health problems, family problems, work problems, they exist.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to tell people and inspire people to do is not let that hold you back from being who you want to be and who you can be. And don't regret it. Have it as part of your, experience, chalk it up to like character building, and use your struggle and turn it into a strength. So my struggle was, dealing with that adversity with my parents. How do I take care of them? How do I do a good job for them? How do I create value for them? They were very sick. And I created value by giving them a life with dignity, by making them comfortable, by doing the small things that became the big things. That is the lesson here. That is how you live with no regrets, is you do your best. If you only, Jim Quick says this, if you only have 40% to give that day, then you gave 100%, because that's all you could give. And that's what this chapter and closing the book is about living with no regrets, and knowing that you live in harmony with others who go through the same things. And if you can just stay low and keep moving, you're going to get through the other side. You're going to achieve the things you want to achieve. And I want this book to inspire and educate people.
Well, I tell you, Maha, it has inspired me. I'm a slight bit biased because knowing you a little bit. So I felt like I got a little peek into your story more. But what I liked how you did it is that it wasn't just a biography, which has been great. But for those who don't know, you're like, why are we going to do it, Maha? But you shared lessons that then added to real things that we can all take away from Maha. Anything I didn't ask you, anything else you wanted to say, feel free. If
This
it's
is
not, we're
great. This
good.
is great. The book has takeaways, playbooks. At the end of every chapter, there are reflection exercises on how to network, on how to build your personal brand, on how to create value, on how to be a long-term player, on how to not be a waiter and be a creator. So there's actual downloadable playbooks and lessons in each chapter, and I'm really excited for everyone to get their hands on it and join my community and share me feedback and things you want to learn, and we'll continue the conversation from there.
Indeed. Maha, one more time, give us your full name of your company, and the title of the book one more time.
Maha Abouelenein, the name of the book is 7 Rules of Self-Reliance. You can find it on wherever you buy your books. And my company is called Digital and Savvy, and look forward to hearing from all of you on social. Connect with me.
I love it. My name is Ramon Ray, as y'all people know, host of the Rundown with Ramon. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Have an amazing, amazing day.